welcome to Living Out Loud with Laura. I am so excited for you guys to be joining us today because I have a very special guest, and that is my friend Olive. She will be joining us today to talk about her journey, and I've also given her 100% permission to interview me back. I love that idea. So, welcome to the show, Miss Olive. Olive, welcome.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. Why don't you tell our viewers and listeners just a little bit about yourself before we get started?
Um, I have a really hard time doing that, but I'll try.
Okay.
I was a cross-dresser for many years, probably about 10 years. My wife is very supportive. She's actually the one that kind of got me into cross-dressing, which is kind of strange for most people. Um, and then I've met so many wonderful people and been a part of the community, and it just made me feel whole. And I've actually, in the last 6 weeks, I've started on HRT. So that's
Wow,
a whole new thing. I
congratulations.
don't necessarily want to become a woman, but I don't want to be a dude anymore. I'm shooting for somewhere in the middle right now. If I go somewhere else later on, then that's great. But right now I'm just shooting to be somewhere in the middle.
I like that. I like that. So, what would you, as we're talking, what would you like your pronouns to be?
Oh, they can be whatever, anything. Seriously, for me, it's not a thing. It's more of a reflection on, to me, it's a reflection on the person saying it. So it's up to them to pick. And
Ooh, I like that. That's spicy, but I like it.
no, I welcome controversy. If somebody wants to call me a dude when I look like this, then that just helps me understand them more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's confusing, I have to say, because like I mentioned, you are my friend and I've been out with you in many different social interactions. And there are some of my friends that I don't understand how anybody can figure out that they're trans, quite honestly. Like I look and I'm like, if I didn't know what I know, and I'm like, I don't think I would know. I mean,
Right.
and then of course we know we have other friends who um well, in the world of saying it, they typically say they don't pass as well. Like it is a little bit easier to maybe pick up on some of the subtleties, but I honestly can't really always tell the difference between that. And, some very stoic lesbians can look that way as well.
Yes. You mean the hot ones? Yes.
Exactly. And it's so funny because you're talking about how the fact that you don't necessarily have a label. We have another friend, Robin, who doesn't necessarily have a label. She'd go by whatever you threw at her as the
Right.
kitchen sink. Like that is like her jam. It's just like, ooh, whatever, I'm good. Oh. So, and I love that. I love that people can be that comfortable. I know that is not everybody's journey, and that's very important for our
No,
listeners
no,
and viewers
and
to
I'm not,
understand.
I 100% respect anybody that wants to be addressed in a certain way.
Yes,
that is a right.
yes.
For
So,
me, it's just a little different.
yes. And that is what's really important for our listeners and viewers to understand is
Yes.
that every single trans individual's journey is unique and different. Each one of them takes being trans as a different variation because just as you and every other cisgender person each individual is unique and an individual. Hence
Yes.
why each one of their journeys is going to be different. And that's why, as long as you're coming from a place of care and compassion, asking questions is okay. Okay.
Exactly. I agree 100%.
That was my little getting to know you. And it is very okay to always say, like I said earlier, how would you like me to address you?
No, yes,
And
yes.
if you feel awkward doing that when you reach out to somebody, you can say, hi, I'm Laura. I go by she, her. That breaks the ice right there. And that lets that person know and hopefully will respond back to you in kind. So instead of you guessing, you can always go about it that way. It works really nicely. And that way you're not offending anybody
Yeah.
because you want to be referred to the way you'd like to be referred to. And so let's be kind with our minds.
Yes.
Okay, Miss Olive, back to you now. Huh. So you were a cross dresser for 10 years and your wife
That
encouraged that.
Yes, yes. As a child, I played with, I love silky things. I love to steal people's undergarments, and I got busted with a bunch, and I was told that we didn't do that, and so I stopped. I
Oh,
put it away for like 35 years until my wife just kind of slowly brought it back out again. It was pretty cool.
that is very cool. I like you said, that's not the normal story, but I'm obviously met your wife many times as well. And each individual spouse, partner, whatever is going to react vastly different. I have some friends whose partners encouraged it, obviously.
Yes.
And then we have some friends whose partners couldn't handle it and they ended their marriages. And
Yes.
each other person's journey is okay because, once again, it's individual to each person.
Yes.
I'm quite certain that each individual, trans individual that comes out to their spouse or partner, hopes that they're going to continue to love the person, not the pronoun of it
Yes,
all.
if it was a good love at the beginning, and then if it's a good love, it's going to carry on through 100%.
And that doesn't mean without some bumps in the way, because you have to let another person come to terms with their new identity.
Yes.
Because like my friends Vicky and Lisa, Lisa had to come to terms with the fact that with Vicky transitioning, that Lisa is now a lesbian. And so that was a new journey for her and a new path for her that she had to take on and understand. Now she's very proud. Like she's now fully in the rainbow community, which I love. But each person's journey is different. Okay.
Yes.
So, let's see. So you said you just started on HRT. You
Yes.
started 10 years ago. You used to get in trouble. I just want to make sure I'm keeping up with everything because I segue a lot. Um, now have you come out to your family who discouraged you from wearing silky things early on?
Yes. Everybody knows. That was my dad that did that. And he's known for about 2 years. My mom's known for about 3.5 or 4. We were all living together,
Ah,
on the same property. They were in a different house, but we're on the same property. And so it was like,
wow,
they were watching the kids a lot, and I didn't like lying a lot about, hey, we're gonna go do this, we're gonna go do that, making up. I got done with the lies, and
mm-hmm.
so I decided it was time to tell her. And well, I mean, also I messed up and texted her husband a picture of me and Daddy together. So it was like I was like, just don't say anything. I'm gonna talk to her in the next week. And so I talked to her, and she became the best ally.
Oh,
She
that is
was
wonderful.
she was sending me all the articles. She was going to Pride. She was going to protests. She just jumped full
Oh,
force into it, and it was wonderful and beautiful.
that is wonderful and beautiful, and I'm so grateful to hear that. That
Yes.
really is wonderful. How has your wife taken to you, being Olive full time?
Well, I'm not Olive full time yet.
Oh,
I,
okay.
I st I'm still in
Same story.
rural. I'm in rural Florida. And you have to get things done, and you have to do them in a fairly safe way.
Correct.
So when I'm out in the world, 50-50, either Olive and
Or whoever.
or yeah, or that other dude.
Yeah.
Um, but not usually all made up this much when I'm in Olive mode. Usually it's more of a dykey, my hair kind of thing.
I like that though,
No,
because
no,
you get to have
that's
all of it. You get to have the glam, you get to have the middle, and that is a very good part to point out. Not everybody gets to be who they want to be because they live
no,
in unsafe areas. Not everybody has the ability and is afforded the luxury or the right to be
right?
who they are in their own homes,
And
which
that's
is
by
sad.
design. That's by design. That's what
Yes.
the system's set up to do right now.
Yes. And that is what is very unkind. And what is wonderful is that you are able to go back and forth, and that helps squash your body dysphoria, I'm wondering.
I don't have a lot of dysphoria. I never felt like I was always a woman inside and needed to be a woman. That wasn't my route. I know
Okay.
for a lot of us that is the feeling, that is the
Uh-huh.
route. But for me, this has just been more of the ability to look at myself in different light and look at the world in a different light. And it has brought me so much joy that I don't want to let that viewpoint go.
I love
Do
this.
you know what I'm
Tell
saying?
me more. Yes, I am
Y'all are the best
fascinated.
fucking people out there. One hands down of any
Yes.
groups that are there. Y'all have love for everybody. There's
Yeah, they
support
do.
for everybody. There's community. You will have friends that will you can call on that night and they'll
Yes,
come with a shovel and a bag. You know what I
they
mean?
sure will. Yes. Yes. Yes, and I have to tell you, I, tiptoed my way into the community by first getting into my own support groups for being the mom of a trans
Right.
kid. And then when I started volunteering with Free Mom Hugs, and then when I became the state chapter leader of Free Mom Hugs Florida, it allowed me to get into different environments again and allowed me to feel a lot more comfortable putting myself in environments,
Right.
which
How long has that been going on? How long have you been working on? When did that all start?
so 2018 is when my daughter Ruth came out. And
Okay.
by 2019 is like in 2018, I sought the support group. So in 2018, I was doing the support groups online, which was Serendipity Doodah, which is the home of the Mama Bears for any other parents or moms. It's all moms of LGBTQIA plus children.
Okay. And
So,
that's still going on? That's still
oh,
active?
yes, very
Okay.
much so. Sarah Cunningham, I think I said that right now. I'm confusing two names. Liz Dyer. Liz Dyer is Serendipity Doodah, and I hope I'm saying that correctly because I get people's names wrong all the time. And then Sarah Cunningham is Free Mom Hug, so
You could
that's
just
a
dub
separate.
over it later
Yeah,
too.
yeah. There's two different people, so yeah, if we need to, we'll fix that later. But so I started in that group, and then I started volunteering in 2019 is the very first time we walked in a pride parade and we held the large flag. So it
Right.
went from 2018 from when my daughter came out to 2019 and then in it was after COVID that I became the state chapter leader. And that's when I started going to events and really putting myself out there and getting more and more comfortable. And when I moved to Lake County from Seminole County, we intentionally tried to find places that were LGBT friendly and or like I belong to the Triangle Connection, which is a LGBTQIA plus social group in Lake County. And
Hmm.
it's also for allies. So we intentionally put ourselves in that environment where we're going there and interacting. And honestly, that's where all of our friends in Lake County really have come from, is from that cohort,
Right.
other than and or from friends from people from that cohort that have spawned off.
So you're another mom
Yep.
that has jumped full force into supporting their
Yes.
kid.
Yes.
How did it feel when she first told you? Was it something you kind of always knew?
No.
Was it crazy left field?
So
And
it was completely crazy left field. And what happened is one night in the spring of 2018, she came into our room around 10 or 10:30 at night. And she said, me and my husband, John, were laying in bed. And she came into my room and she said she had to tell us something. And at first I'm thinking, damn it, she has a project due the next day or some fucking shit that I have to go to the damn store and buy some crap for. Because she was a senior in high school, right? So like that's my
right,
first fucking thing. Or she had some test that she wasn't prepared for and she was going to tell us that she needed to stay home. Like that, honestly, this is what I had in my head when she walked in the room is the
right.
what was going to drop. But no, what she said to us instead is that that she was trans, that she was a girl, and that's how she felt. She didn't really elaborate much more than that. And since it had come completely out of left field, I was very confused at the time. And
Yeah.
all I did was look at her and I said, "Oh, okay. Well, you still have to be a productive member of society and you still have to graduate high school. Okay. Let your dad and I think about this for a while."
Right.
Like that was literally my so not the worst by far, but definitely not the I missed the whole part of I love you no matter what. Like that's what we should have put in there
Right.
immediately, and I didn't. But
But
I'm
this
very
is this is practically going to bed. This is
yeah, like I'm just like
the
I was
environment was not set
literally
well.
we're laying in bed. So I was very lucky because I reached out to one of my friends, Megan, and I said to her, she's a lesbian, and I reached out to her and I'm like, hey, listen, can you talk about something? I really need to talk to you about something. And she's like, sure. And she thought for sure I was going to be telling her that my oldest daughter, Kaylee, was gay. And I'm like, shit, I could care in the least. Like, she can be whatever she wants. I don't care. No, no, no. It's this one. It's this
Mm.
one. And she even said, holy shit, she didn't
So
see that.
it caught everybody off.
Everybody off guard. However, let me tell you, Starbucks nearly outed her because my husband, we had been going to the same exact Starbucks for like 6 years or something, right?
Right.
But the kids had gotten older, and the baristas switch out, right? Obviously. So we went in one time and we were there, and they're like, oh, hey, you're Ruth's mom. And we're like, what? No, we have two kids. They're Kaylee and blah, blah, blah. And they just kind of looked at us like deers in headlights. And I was so confused. I'm like, why would they think I was somebody else's mom? Like, I don't know. Like, I was so, that was the only time. Looking back now, I
Right.
100% know what was happening at the time. Like, it
Yes.
all makes sense now. Um, so then I reached out to my friend Megan, and what she had said to me is, a similar thing happened with her mom. And the worst thing that happened is that her mom went a long time without coming back and talking to her. And she was in like a state of like unknown. So she said
Right.
the best thing you need to do is let them know that you love them, that you're there and you're just processing. So it was like maybe a day or two later. It was within 48 hours. I made sure that my Ruth knew that
Right.
and that
Yeah,
she
because
knew that we did love her.
that whole time her
Yeah,
mind
it's
is
like I
just
had
spinning in
no
all the
like
wrong directions.
right, like, and that's the whole thing. Correct. And I learned now that more than likely she had a go bag. I learned now that she probably had her stuff packed just in case we said get the fuck out.
Right.
Which of course we didn't do because I believe you love the child that you have, not the child that you want. Um, that's just how it is. This is who my child is. I didn't have a child for that child to make me happy and live out my life through them is basically
No.
what I'm trying to say. So I have
Yes.
to let my child be who they are. And the only thing and one of the things going through the process, and I'm not going to say it was like immediate that I understood. It took a while. It took 6 months about for me to completely understand and do research and reach out to other moms of trans kids
Right.
in my serendipity group. And I said, I live in Central Florida. I'm willing to drive pretty much anywhere if there's another mom that's willing to sit down with me and just let
Oh,
me
yes.
ask
The face to face
questions.
is so much
Yeah,
better.
I'm like almost like AA. Like I need a sponsor. Like it's
Right.
literally what it is. Cause like I didn't know anybody, so I don't have anybody to ask these questions of. And I can promise you they did not address this in what to expect when you were expecting. They just didn't. So like I didn't know if I was ever going to get to that point where I never saw her as who I had envisioned her to be. And
Yes.
we sat there for hours and there was three moms that came and sat with me who I'm still friends with to today. And it was so wonderful because they were willing to sit there and like you said that you found the most kind, loving group. That's what I found. Like I found these other moms that are amazing, that love their children, that had to rewire their brain, that had to work for it, that had to, but they did that out of love.
Right.
No matter. Some of my friends didn't have the best reactions at first. Some of them had better reactions than anybody, like not even a stutter, some of them, but everybody's journey was different. But everybody was getting there and everybody was willing to help other people. And like today, I'm willing to help other people. And like when people come to the Triangle Connection and they're like, ooh, I'm the mother of a trans individual, it's like, hello, you're one of me. Come here, come here, come here. You're not
Because
alone. Ask me questions.
you know that's what they need so bad. They
Yes.
need that initial connection
Yeah.
with
So
that
it,
similar node. Yes,
uh,
it's
so it took me about 6 months, honestly, to get there. And then when Ruth had come out, I had asked her, I had said to her after after I went back and sat down with her, I'm like, hey, listen, I'd like you to go to therapy for 6 months because I said not to pray the gay away, nothing like that. That's not what I'm trying to do. We're not religious, but she knew what that meant. I'm
right.
not trying to fix you. I just want to make sure you're 18 years old. I want you to go to counseling just to make sure this is what's going on. I had no idea that's what you needed to do to get on HRT anyway. Lucky me, I was telling her. She's like, great, I'm willing to do that. Well, now I understand
Because
why.
she already knew the steps she needed.
Exactly. And the mom's like, here, let me give you the list. It was wonderful. So then after that, like we just kind of never talked about it again, ever.
Right.
And then randomly, so then it was kind of even more awkward because I didn't bring it up. She wasn't bringing it up. My husband wasn't bringing it up. I mean, me and my husband might have been talking about it, but we weren't talking about it to each other or our other daughter. So, like at the end of that 6 months, like I didn't go to her and be like, so, like I really should have probably done a check in. Once again, it took me about 6 months to reach out to the people and be like, listen, I really need help now. Like, it's my 6 months, nothing's changing. And I
Right.
think it was the very first time I walked in the house and she was sitting on the couch in a wig. And it was that I'm like, okay, we're not playing around. Crappy wig. And
That they start out that way, you know
I
that.
I know that. And that's I'm like, oh,
It's a
we
spirit
need
wig or a freaking
we need
Spencer
better
wig.
stuff. We just need better wigs. So, but yeah, and learning the makeup is always fun. But yeah, so that is how I got there. I spoke with the moms, and now like understanding, I want to educate other moms and even moms that maybe parents, family members that just didn't take it right to start that
Right.
loved one, your trans loved one is just waiting and willing for you to, they're going to extend you the grace for you to have needed to take a while, as long as you go back and say, I'm sorry. I had to work through my own shit. I worked through it. I'm here to support you. I might fuck up. I might mess up. I'm human, but I don't expect you to be my teacher. But no, I'm trying to learn and I'm trying to
Mhm.
walk on this journey. It's very important, though, that you don't force your trans loved one to be your teacher. You need to get in your own support groups and do your own education. It's not fair to them to try to figure out who they are and have to educate you on every single one of the nuances either.
Well, I mean, that's the whole thing. I can't educate anybody on who I am because I'm still figuring this shit out, you know? It's ongoing.
It is, and it's evolving and it's ever evolving. And just like you just said, you just started on HRT. You
Yeah,
know, that brings up the second puberty, which,
yeah, I'm riding it.
right? And let me tell you, that second puberty is no fucking joke.
No.
And so, like, I had just gotten, my oldest daughter was like 20 at the time, right? So Kaylee was 20, Ruth was 18. You know, she had pretty much gone through puberty again. So I'm like, fuck, I'm doing this shit for a third time. I have two kids and gotta do this a third fucking time. Damn it. It's the worst. But my oldest, I like to joke around and say like around like 14, I think like she was abducted by aliens and they brought me like a pod person. And then like when she turned 18, they started bringing me back my child every once in a while. But for a while, I'm like, I don't know who this is. This is a crazy person. the same kind of thing happened again with
Yeah.
my other daughter when she got the estrogen hormones. And right now we're in the phases, oh my God, we're getting our daughter back. Like we're starting to have more interactions again, even though they're on Zoom calls.
Well,
But
it's just
those
like
little
you
things,
needed that 6 months, right?
yes,
It
exactly.
puberty's a
And
reprogramming of the whole system. So
at,
it takes time to figure it out. And you have to, a lot of that's internal.
it is. And people would ask me, like, oh, your daughter must just love you. And just, I'm like, I'm here and we will be here. And that was the thing. She knew we were here. She knew we were
Right.
supportive, and we gave her the space she needed. And what
Yeah.
you said is very important, because I know another mom whose wife, um, it's her second marriage, so it's the daughter's stepmom,
Hmm.
doesn't understand how the trans daughter could have cut the mom out of her life for a while and now wanted her back in her life.
Right.
And she's having a hard time understanding why that mom is there ready to jump back in when the daughter might not have been quite so kind always.
Right.
Um, but I would hope, I know for me, I just wanted my child back. I loved my child. You know, I went through all of this. I reprogrammed my brain. I did the education. I did the hard work because she is worth it. And I say it all the time. My kids made me a better person, a
They
much
do.
better person. And I'm proud of that fact, because some people allow their children just being themselves to make not the children the bad person, but themselves the bad person on how they react. So I'm glad that my children made me a better person, if that makes sense.
It does. Yes,
Okay.
100%.
Yeah. My kids actually told me in 2016 they were not sure which way we were going to go. They weren't sure if we were going to go full on MAGA or not. Yay, we did it! But I can understand their concern
Right.
at that time, trust me. So, since you've recently started and you just said you are feeling the HRT effects,
Yes.
the estrogen, what kind of things have you noticed just in that short period of time? Because oftentimes people have been on the estrogen for so long that they forget the new effects. So what are you going through right now?
Well, the biggest stuff is the mental stuff. Um, everything I do and process is done freaking. It's like I switched operating systems. Okay,
Oh my
I can
god.
still do everything that needs to be done, but I
I
just got
think
to figure out the new prompts to make it work. You know what I
I
mean?
think that's exactly how Vicky described it. Is like a different operating system. I think
Yes.
it's funny, but yeah. So it's like you went from like a PC to a Mac.
Linux. This is Linux. We're way better,
Okay.
so it's cool. But yeah, no,
Oh.
it's it's just I used to motivate myself to do things differently. I used
Mm-hmm.
because they would work. And then I had like 2 weeks where I couldn't do anything. I couldn't do anything because I didn't know how to get myself to do it. And I had to I motivate myself differently, just by the way I think about things and the things I don't know how to put that part in words. It's just I motivate myself differently to do things
It's
and how
different
I
self
think
talk now. It's different self talk.
yes, yes, 100%. Yes.
Yes.
Much less. I'm beginning to learn that guys are more about what needs to be done and what's in the future, and the women are more about what's going on right now. Where are we right now? And so guys live in fear from the past, but they live in the future because of the fear from the past. And for me, the woman side of things is you live in the here and now and you try and learn as much as you can from the past with so that's what I found. I don't know if that resonates, but that's kind of what I found so
No,
far.
that is fascinating, because I've heard that explained in a very similar manner before. So I think that you are truly kind of hitting the nail on the head, because what we also understand biologically, under medical scans that a trans woman's brain structure is much more wired the same as a cis woman's brain structure. So when
Yes.
those hormones start, you're actually starting to fire the way it's supposed to be firing, because it's kind of like glitchy in the back. It's like the back operating, like you opened in safe before, safe mode. And now like you have a completely different, like, yes, interface. It's like everything's completely different. But I also wonder, does empathy and compassion make more sense to you now?
I wouldn't say make more sense. Um, I was getting there as a guy. So like the male brain for me was always it's been working on that for about that time, since about 2018, 2019. So it wasn't a huge leap or a huge noticeable difference from the empathy level that I feel. Because yeah, now I'll cry about stuff in a heartbeat, but it's not sad stuff. It's almost all of it's just these happy tears, just that
Right?
everything's so nice and wonderful and oh my, yeah, it's that kind of stuff, good stuff. Um, but the actual, I was pretty close as a guy. I wasn't there, but I was pretty close on the testosterone. Now that I'm on estrogen, yeah, 100%. I'm getting, it's still a growing thing. I'm still figuring it out. I'm like, I think 6 weeks in, maybe
Well,
7. It's not that much, not
I'm
that much
turn
at all.
I'm turning 50 in September, and I'm still learning and growing, and I think
Yes, I'm,
that's what we're supposed to do. I think we're supposed to be willing to be open to learning, growing, and evolving.
well, it's
And
not just that. It's if you don't do that, then you are your whole life I don't know how to say this. If you do that, it's like you are not continuing to grow. If you do not continue to grow as a person mentally, physically, whatever aspect, then you are working on dying. You're
yes,
just it's
you're
so
not
it
moving
doesn't matter.
forward.
It doesn't matter what it is,
Mm-mm.
honestly, to me. If as long as you're learning something new and going about it in a good way, then it's all going to help you and it's all going to make you a better person. It's all going to make you a stronger person. It's going to make you more connected with everybody else. Um, it I don't know, it's just good
Yeah.
stuff.
So,
Yeah,
so we're gonna switch back real quick. How long have
yes.
you and your wife been married?
We've been married 16 years.
Congratulations, that's
We got
wonderful.
yeah, the official wedding was in 2010. We actually got married a year before that because I was going to Afghanistan and I want to make sure she was taken care of if anything happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
But then the official one was in 2010.
So
Yes.
you'll understand this. I got married on April 22nd because John finished tech school and he was going to his permanent duty station, but I wanted to go to my prom, right? So that was very important for me to go to prom. So I made him come back. So he had graduated tech school. So before he went to his permanent duty station, he came home. And then after he came home, we went to go get our marriage license. But there was more that Florida only allowed you to hold a marriage license for 90 days. And it was going to be like 110 days between when he left to when he was coming back. So we had
Right.
no choice but to get married then. So we got married on April 22nd, but our wedding was on July 2nd.
Yes. Yes. Same basic thing.
Yeah.
Yes. All military related. Yes.
Exactly. It is all military related. And the reason that I got married at 17, and for very similar reasons. I could have got moved out to Oklahoma to be with him, but he couldn't live off base unless he was an E4 or more. And I wouldn't have help, like I would be there by myself. Like it
Right.
wouldn't have worked. So it was, my mom says, what's the worst thing that happens? You get a divorce later. And I'm 32 years into the marriage. So I'm thinking it's working well.
Yes. I've seen you all together. It's working well.
In speaking of that, John, I understand what you mean by as a man or as a dude, that you were getting your brain there, because I know John has ever been evolving, and especially since 2018 he has really taken a lot of steps, and he's also very open to things now too, where I think before it was a lot harder to convince,
Yes.
like, not to convince him, I don't want to say convince him, but to reach him on certain things, to get him to see my perspective, maybe, is what I'm trying to say. Because I do think I tend to have a different perspective on a lot of things than most men. I mean, John's always been a good guy, but even good guys sometimes need better educating.
Just a little bit.
You know,
I've
bah,
gotten a
don't do
few.
that.
I've gotten a few of those.
He went to Catholic school. Hey, no, that's wrong.
Yeah,
So,
my wife's Latina. Yeah.
oh yes, fiery. So you've been married for 16 years, and your wife has been very supportive and encouraging.
Yes.
Did she find a support group, or was she just able to walk into the world and feel comfortable? Like that's just who she was. She's just
That's
brave.
she's crazy like that. Yes. She 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 did it solo. I don't even know when she first started talking to people about it. I think it was her sister, maybe, 5 or 6 years
Yeah.
after we got started, when I was starting to get online and
Yeah.
get a little popular and all that kind of stuff.
Uh-huh.
Um, but yeah, it was just she just did it. She just did it.
That's
Um,
amazing. And that's what true love is. And, that's one of the things that I've had to like talking to so many different people and, find, how so many of the older, when I say older, I should say elder, trans individuals, when they come out, let's say in their late 30s, like their mid 30s to their like 50s or 60s, because we know we have
yes.
friends that didn't come out until their 60s. Um, so a lot of elder trans individuals, because they come
Yes.
out later in life, a lot of them are already in committed relationships and already have spouses or partners that then need to become either understanding or not. We kind of talked about
Right.
that earlier, but that is a vastly different situation than I had when my daughter came out, because as a mother at that point, my daughter, even though she was 18 and she was technically an adult, she was still a child. And one of the things that I always worried about was she going to be loved? Was she going to be accepted? And that's what caused me to dive even further into the community, and what really caused me to not just go out and support at pride events and that, but actually immerse myself in the community, to whereas like I really honestly think 75% of my friends that I hang out with are trans. Like that's how immersed. And like if we're gonna go LGBT altogether, I'm thinking it's 95%.
Right.
I'm not even sure. I think the only straight people I have as friends anymore almost are the parents of my trans friends. It's just funny how that kind of trickles a little bit like that. But it does. But that my concern was whether my daughter was going to be able to find love. Was there going to
Right.
be love out there for her? Was she going to be accepted into different environments just as her? Like, was she going to be able to walk into a restaurant and sit down with a group of cis friends and have coffee with them? That was something that I thought about a lot. And I decided, well, if I wanted that for my daughter, don't I need to lead by example and show her that, hey, listen, my mom goes out with trans people all the time. My mom has trans friends that go out with them all the time, one on one. And that's just normal. It's good. That's what my daughter sees. So she can see that is there and there are
Right.
people there. And it has opened my eyes up so much, because as a parent, I'm not only just focused on my daughter. And that's another, it's very easy to isolate. And I know that's one of the struggles that I have with my some of my family members that continue to be MAGA, is that they can love my daughter, they can support my daughter, but somehow they can separate her from the entire trans community.
Right.
And by, like, for myself, stepping into that, and it not just being about my daughter, but being about everybody,
Right.
in learning, in seeing all the different challenges people have gone through. I've learned a lot of people, elder trans individuals, start off by cross dressing at first. That's where they like tip their toes in a little bit, I guess, to see how they're liking it. But that
Right.
is a very normal way of starting, from what I've learned.
Yeah. 100. Yeah, that's definitely
Yeah.
not
Whereas,
always, but
right.
yes.
Whereas with the younger children, and yes, there are there is education that does explain that a child knows between the age of 3 and 5 what their gender identity is, just as the child knows if they were assigned female at birth that they're a girl, they would know if they were assigned female at birth and they weren't, they would also know that. It's the same idea. There's clinical facts that back all that wonderful stuff up. But those children don't typically have that cross dressing period so much, unless what it is where they're socially transitioning at home only. So I
Hmm.
guess that is almost like the almost the mirror image of that. And I'm kind of thinking, I don't know, because I did, like I said, my daughter was 18 also, so I didn't have an adolescence child, so like I never had to worry about that aspect of it, if that
Right.
makes
So she came out
sense.
at 18 to you. How
Mhm.
long after, I'm sure y'all talked about stuff. How long had she been feeling that way? How long of a progression was this for her? Was this like a 3 or 4 year thing? Was this a 10-year thing?
I have no idea. No, and that's what I say when people assume that because of my relationship and how I can talk to other people, that maybe my daughter shares things as openly.
Right.
However, it's still my daughter, and you might tell friends more than you tell your mom.
No, 100%.
So, however, um,
But it's not a bad question to
no,
ask.
no, it's not a bad question to ask at all. And a matter of fact, I probably will now, because I've learned myself, like before on old episodes, I had talked about the fact that when I thought about my daughter before she transitioned, I would refer to her in that past tense,
Hmm.
those pronouns.
Right.
Well, I finally decided if I wanted the answers to it, I needed to ask, like I encourage everybody else to. So I finally said, "Hey, Ruth, when I'm referring to you when you were a kid, like in elementary school, how do you want me to refer to you?" And she told me, and it's been great. And I'm thinking, I could have just asked that question a long time ago and not like stumbled over it myself. So
Yeah.
that probably is something, but in the moment, that is not what I was trying. Like that wasn't so focused at the beginning. The beginning is just trying to get my head around it and
Yeah.
understand that she was 100% committed to this. So that I know now, and I think like about a year before, I think she we were out at dinner, and she was the food came right, and they sat the food down, and she like jumped into it, right, and I'm like smacking her. I said, "You don't do that. You have to wait for other people to eat, you know you have to let the girl go first." "Well, what if I'm gay?" "Well, it doesn't matter, you still have to let the other people eat." So that was the only thing she ever said. And then I'm
Right.
like, "I don't care, you still got to let people eat." Like you don't just dig in. But that was the only hint she ever dropped to me. And then, like, I think after that, she went to her very first Pride event, and she came home wearing one of the rainbow flags as a cape, which,
Right.
now I go to Pride events and I see it all the time. I'm like, yeah, I get it. But that was that was literally the only two things were that ever came up beforehand. Now, I will say, I also believed in my child's privacy. So when my kids got to be a certain age, I respected their privacy and I didn't go rummaging around the rooms,
Right.
which I also think is a little bit different. I think there are some parents that still might like go into their kids' rooms and like mess around. Like I didn't put their clothes, I didn't do any of that shit. You're old enough to do your own damn laundry, do your damn laundry. Like you know how the washing machine works. If I bought you a car and you can drive a car, you can run a washing machine. That's just how I think about things, right? So after Ruth came out, and I think like while I was still trying to figure out like is this real or not? Like I did go and I just opened her bedroom door and I looked and I saw bras on the ground. And I'm like, okay, well now. huh. And I shut the door. So my daughter clearly had been, as you
Right.
would say, cross-dressing. So it's just interesting because I don't perceive that I never thought of it that way as a child though. So it's very interesting. Like, listen, look at where we got. This is very unique. I like this. That is so funny. That is so funny. Um, let's see. But yeah, it's just how it's such a different thing. So clearly she had been, once again, clearly she was going to Starbucks and they knew who she was.
Yeah. So she was
So
testing with other people too.
she
And
was.
and that's a lot of times like cross-dressers, that's what they're doing before they tell their wives. They want to they want their wife to know, but a lot of them are trying to work through this. Is this who I am? Can I do this? Do I like who I am when I'm doing this? All that stuff has to be worked out to a level that you feel comfortable before you can open up to somebody else, I think. And
Yeah,
so,
well, you have to like yourself. And that can be hard if you're not understanding what's going on.
yes, very hard.
And I'm gonna say, I think anybody that's struggling to either come out and understand their own identity, I encourage you to look for a therapist that is educated in gender issues. And you call, it's easy. You don't have to
It's
tell
got
them your
to
real name when you're calling the first time. You can call from a blocked number and you can call, hey, this is Mary Jo Blige. I want to know, do you guys do this? I picked up the phone and I called. I'm like, hey, I'm a mom. I'm not sure what I need, but this is what's going on. And I actually had other therapists say, oh, no, then this is who you need to reach out to.
right.
So that information, but what I'm trying to say for your child, for the trans individual, for the loved one, go get therapy because it's okay. It's okay to
And
talk through the emotions.
it is super important, but let me say, one of the things that you can do by reaching out and networking with other people is to find out who good therapists are, like you were saying,
Yes,
because I've been to therapists. I've
yes,
talked to therapists about this, and they were shit.
correct. You
They
and
had all
that,
the credentials. They were gay. They were whatever.
oh
But
yes,
it wasn't. They were not.
yes.
They were they were
Thank you.
not
And that is
speaking
a
to me.
that
So
is a wonderful
I think
point.
there should be some kind of registry that we make
You know
for the
what?
people that really know how to talk and really
Who knows how to
understand
do
what's
an
going
app?
on.
Come on. There has to be some techie person out there that can do the
Yeah,
app.
but
I think Erica up
then
in
they could use
Jacksonville is
it.
pretty techie.
Yeah, but then we got to watch out for people tracking it and all that shit because it could be used both ways. So might have to keep it internal, which is against the whole idea. But
But no, there really should be. And like I know like in Lake County, I actually know people that are, and that actually shocks people, but I know multiple therapists in Lake County that are actually very affirming, very well versed in it, could actually help. But that was a wonderful point that I never even thought about. And that is really wonderful to point out is
like when
yeah,
you're talking about your support groups, the
yes,
triangle,
absolutely.
y'all should have something like a little list of the people that have been good therapists for you or
They
your
actually
kids or
do.
for all
They
that.
actually do have a list of
That's
the
good.
affirming places of
That's
doctors
good.
and everything, and you can actually go in and ask. Because that's how I found my chiropractor. I'm like, hey, anybody know a good gay friendly chiropractor?
Yes.
That's literally how I found my chiropractor. And my primary care doctor, who I still see today, I started seeing her in 2011. So obviously, if my daughter didn't come out till 2018, I've been seeing her for a long time. And my doctor has gone on a journey of educating herself because of the fact that I was at her practice, my daughter was at her practice, and she ended up having other parents of trans individuals come in. And those are the doctors that are worth their salt. They're willing to do the
Yeah,
work.
because
It
they're good
wasn't,
people.
yeah, she didn't know what she was getting into. Like it was new to her, but she was willing to do the work. And, sometimes you might be surprised, but always ask. And the support groups, yes, that is the perfect place because we have we have stumbled through the good, the bad, and the ugly. Like you can even go, like if you're a real religious person, you can go to those groups and ask, hey, does anybody have a good recommendation for a good affirming church
Right.
in this area? And you'd be shocked because we do kind of keep secret lists. You're not
No, and we
wrong.
got to.
Because in the mama bears, we have like, we do have them because I know,
Yes.
because I'm in the groups with them. So you're right, but they are all kept
But it's
internal.
it's that grass level connection that we need to make. And you do that not just by the online stuff, but by meeting people face to face and having these connections. Yes.
And
That's
it's very interesting because another thing that we talked about but we didn't address. So we talked about how the fact that once you started coming out in the trans community and meeting more people, that they're so loving and accepting and so kind. Well, another thing that we pointed out is you're required to go to therapy before you can start doing certain things, right?
right.
So some most trans individuals are some of the most well-adjusted people you'll ever meet because they required a lot of therapy. They required the hard work to love themselves.
Yes.
I don't always get up in the mirror and love myself every day. I know we don't all do that, but there's a difference between getting up in the mirror and not loving myself that day and knowing that tomorrow I'm going to get up, I'm going to look the same, but my mental mind will be in a different place is vastly different than how a trans individual's body dysphoria works. When they look in the mirror every single time, they are not, what's looking back is a reflection that just doesn't feel right. And
Right.
it's like having this itch you can't scratch. And at that time, that's the face that's supposed to be looking at you, but there's something that's just not right about it. And I think that's when the first time of a makeup or a wig might come on, seeing if, okay, is this what's making me feel better? And
Mhm.
if you are at that stage, if you're at that initial phase, it's okay. You're not alone. There's lots of support groups out there. Even just going online in Facebook, that's the only one I know. I know I'm old. I'm going to be 50. I'm sure TikTok and Instagram have them also, but old, old. But you go on there, you find the trans network, and you have people there that you can go in and say, hey, I'm thinking, I'm looking for friends in this area. I'm looking for somebody to talk to me. I guarantee you're going to find somebody there that's willing, that's
That
open.
was how I started HRT. I just blew it out on Instagram. I said, "Hey, who here started HRT with one of these online companies?" And I got 20, 30 people talking back to me, and that educated me enough to make a choice and move forward.
You see, and that's the thing. You're never alone. You might feel alone. You might be in that rural area because that's another thing you talked about. Being in a rural area, especially in Florida, you don't see a lot of representation out there.
Nope.
So it is okay. If you're living somewhere, it is okay to go into a safe place. You find your safe zone. You find it online. You find your community. You find your tribe. Your tribe is out there. I promise you, they might not look like what your current tribe looks like, but if your current tribe is no longer fitting your heart, it's okay to look for other people that do now. Now, Olive, I want to give you some time to really share any thoughts, ponderings, or anything
Mm.
that you really think is important for our viewers and listeners to know about you, about the trans community, anything. Like what do you think is so important?
Oh, that's really big.
It is.
The thing that's so important um, to me isn't necessarily trans related.
And that's why I said it could be anything.
It's just the continue to meet new people, find friends, keep learning, see new things. Don't let this world get stagnant on you because, like I said, you lose. You're just getting ready to die when you do that.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, I'm 54. I've been I count them as all my different lives now, all my different things that I've done. It's all
Mm-hmm.
like they feel like different lives. This is just another one for me. This is another new life for me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's those new lives that have kept me going, that keep me learning new things and keep me intrigued and inspired. And I don't want to trivialize what I'm doing means to me about taking HRT and moving away from the male side of me. Um, as just being just, oh, this is something new, this is something great, this is something just, because I do have people like that I know that
Mm-hmm.
this is more of ride the wave of it. Okay, now I'm going to go do something else.
Yeah.
And they're more the ADHD
Yeah.
spectrum type people who want that. Um, so I do see that, but to me, this is it's not just that. I might sound like that when I'm saying it and talking about it, but this is changing who I am um, through work. This doesn't just happen. You don't just take these pills and it just happens. This is freaking work. This is repetition. This is um, practice. It's all those things over and over and over again that build the muscle memory that make you the new person. Because if you don't change that muscle memory, if you're still acting like you always did, but you're just doing it now that you look like a female, you're not achieving the goal. You're not doing the work. Um,
And let me ask you
it-
a question. Has
yes.
that work allowed you to like yourself more?
Oh, yes. Yes. And it's not just allowed me to like myself more, it's allowed me to understand who I was more. Um, because I've definitely 100% not been a very good person through a lot of my life. Um, and this lets me see it. This lets me understand it. And now, and I never understood until I took the HRT, until I really dove into things. I never really understood a lot of the why I did things because I didn't understand the forces that were pushing me. But now,
Mm-hmm.
without those forces, I can understand more of why of what I did, and how I acted, and as a general thing, it's how understanding how guys act in general because it's hard for women to understand, but they have these things going on in their body just that are just like, oh, women are all mysterious, they're all this. Okay, guys are the same freaking way, they just have some different stuff going on, but we just all assume that's great and dandy. It doesn't have to be. There's things that need to be worked on to counteract those forces that are constantly driving us to be the best, to get the most, to win the most, to exploit the most, to take the most instead of just be the most kind of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Um, that's been my biggest, I don't know,
I think that's
learning.
beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful, Olive. And I'm
Oh,
so grateful that you were willing to come and share your story, share your heart, and share your journey.
oh, of
Because
course.
it's stories like yours that allow people to see themselves. And stories matter because behind every story is a person. And when politicians use a vulnerable group to exploit people, they're taking away the humanity of seeing a person as an individual. And that's why sharing your story opens it up, lets people see a transgender individual is not the boogeyman that the MAGA Republicans want you to think they are. A matter of fact, a lot of the elder trans women were in the service, quite honestly. A lot.
Yes, I believe there are way more people in the community that were prior military For
Oh,
me, I've seen I did the prior military thing as a chance to prove myself as a man.
and I hear that a lot.
Yes. Because
Uh,
it was all role play.
it was
Being a
to
guy
get
was
the
role play to me.
macho. Oh, that's what I need.
Yes, yes.
All the
Yes,
time. Yeah.
I did the hardest job I could do with the hardest training, the highest dropout rates, and I just wanted to do that to prove to everybody else, look what a fucking good dude I am.
Look what a badass I am.
Yes, yes.
But now you're Olive, and you're Olive that can look back and say, "Ugh,"
Yeah,
and that's growth. See, that's just like me. I can look back and go, "Ugh," and that's growth.
it is.
And that's what matters. We've all done things we're not proud of, but admitting it and learning from it and growing is what truly matters.
And that's not just individuals. We can do that as countries too, and that'd be
Yes, we
cool.
can.
I'm just
That'd
saying.
be great. That'd be wonderful. And I want to thank everybody for being with us today. And I hope you've learned that living your life out loud is a journey of self discovery. And it's one worth taking because it's the one that allows you to be free, to be you, and to find a big, beautiful world. Until next time, I hope you continue to live your life out loud. Thank you all.
Bye.